Welcome to Epiphanies, the podcast, where we explore the breakthrough moments that change everything. I'm Anna Gergen, launch coach and founder of Epiphanies Coaching. And this season, I'm sitting down with people from all walks of life to explore the awakenings, hard lessons, and unexpected epiphanies that shaped who they became. My hope is that somewhere in their story, you'll see yourself differently and have an epiphany of your own. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Epiphanies, the podcast, season 2. I'm your host, Anna Gergen, coach, speaker, entrepreneur, and curious student of what creates real transformations. Each week, I sit down with remarkable people to uncover the moments that changed everything, the decision that altered a trajectory, the belief that had to die, the lesson that arrived disguised as a heartbreak, a failure, a success, or a surrender. Together, we'll explore the breakthroughs that shape our health, wealth, relationships, faith, and purpose, because one insight can change your day, one decision can change your year, and one epiphany can change your life. Let's dive in. Welcome, Mr. Jarrad Walker.
Hey, what's going
Woo!
on? Hey, what's going on? Anna, what's up?
So excited to have you here today. I have my first ever guest on the Epiphanies podcast. This is Mr. Jarrad Walker. Jarrad is the voice and identity strategist and the creator of Voice Equity. He helps entrepreneurs and experts uncover the value they've earned, communicate it effectively, and transform their voice into an asset that can create impact, influence, and income. And he is one of my very best friends. I'm so excited to have you here today with me. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, this is history in the making. The pleasure is all mine, sincerely and seriously. Like when you read my bio and you just say it, it make me sound like I'm somebody all fancy and what, just like, hey, I'm Jarrad Andre Walker. That's who I am.
I think you're pretty fancy. And
Oh, you fancy, huh?
I also hear you're like TikTok famous now too.
Yo, they need to cut this out. I don't know where they're getting this from. I mean, it's first and foremost, someone said that today. They were like, "Oh my gosh, Jarrad is the king of TikTok." I said, where the followers at? Where the followers at?"
They're coming. They're coming. I see though. I've popped on to a couple of your lives. They're so great, so valuable, and the engagement that you have, like I see those comments. You're rocking, you're making impact on people. So kudos, hats off.
Appreciate that.
That's something about you though, like you will find a way to impact and influence every room that you're in. I don't even know if that's something that you do intentionally or organically, but you shift the atmosphere when you're in the room. Do you know that?
I had to accept it. For the
Mm,
longest, I tried to play small and do this little self-deprecating thing where like, oh, well, I'm just dot dot dot. Most people do that. They're like,
mhm.
oh no, it's nothing. I'm just dot 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 dot. Whatever the ellipsis leads to. For me, I got to a point where, like, I intentionally use my voice to influence, inspire, and impact.
Mhm.
That's literally what I've committed to. That is my intention. I will intentionally use my voice for the rest of my life and after, by the way. That's the whole
Mm.
point of pressing record or writing
Yes.
it. So
Mhm.
influence, inspire, and impact. That is literally my intention. It's called being the if. And if is it's a condition. Like if then when statements. But
Mhm.
if is a condition that must be met in order for a particular purpose to be fulfilled. So I say be the if, be the condition that someone else must meet in order for a particular purpose in their life to be fulfilled. Well, sometimes they don't get to see you and shake your hand and give you a hug, but they can absolutely be influenced, inspired, and impacted by your voice. It's voice
That's
equity.
so good. Yes, that's so good. And you just hit on two different things. One, legacy. Like, I don't think we really, I don't think many of us really sit in that understanding of how the things that we produce, this podcast, books that we write, your all of the different things that you're putting out into the world that have your mark on it is literally going to outlive you and be part of your legacy. I think that's so powerful. And if that doesn't encourage people to get up and do the thing that they feel driven to do, then it should. Right?
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so notice I said influence, inspire, and impact.
Mm-hmm.
If you influence someone, this is authority. It's earned authority typically, but it is authority because
Mm-hmm.
if you have authority, that means you have the ability to influence an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's just definitions. Okay, if you inspire someone, this means it. So inspiration or inspire is literally dealing with breath.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is the inspiration, let's say of God, that means it was God breathed. Well, if you inspire somebody, that means you are breathing life into something. That means you are showing them that it is possible. That's why I tell, like, listen, if I show you my scars, that's proof that your wounds can be healed, especially if they're in the same place. What does that mean? You are the evidence. You are the person with the capacity to inspire just by being you the whole time. Like Mr. Doubtfire, whenever he got found out it was him, like, the whole time, Daniel, the whole time. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but that impact is legacy. If you leave an impact, that means you are leaving a legacy. Legacy stands for life examples gained after considering you. So you are either building a legacy worth protecting or you're creating a legacy worth correcting. Meaning you're either becoming a person worth reflecting and respecting, or you're becoming a person worth rejecting. And it's like, sheesh. Well, you mean to tell me that I don't have to be dead to leave a legacy? Nah, sometimes you just need to leave the room. So the legacy that comes from you is literally based on what you said and what you did, or what you didn't say and what you did not do. Guess whose decision it is? To
Yep.
be intentional about it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And
Mine.
that's everything.
Yours.
That's everything right there. That's it. That's exactly when you said your scars, you're gonna have to repeat the statement, but your scars become the evidence of what you've been through. Is that what you said?
Yeah. If I show you my scars,
Mm-hmm.
that's evidence that your wounds can be healed.
There it is. But you know what's the craziest part about that is that also comes back to choice. Because we have a decision to make when we get wounded. We have a decision to make when we go through these trials and tribulations and all the things that we'll dive into in a minute of like the experiences that we both have had in life. They could have rocked us to the point of being our downfall and our detriment, right? But we had to make a decision of first of all looking up and surrendering and asking for help. I know that's a through line for both of us, but making the decision that those things were not going to be the thing that determined and dictated how we were going to live the rest of our lives or how we were going to view ourselves or how we were going to move forward, right? Making the decision like this thing is not going to break me. It's just going to make me stronger. It's going to be part of my story. Does that ring true for you?
Yes, and sometimes it does break you.
Well, yeah. Well, yes. In the meantime, between time.
Like, in order for a seed to go from dormancy, it literally has to go through the process of germination. Meaning a seed, once it imbibes, this is imbibition, a fun word. It just means it's activated because the water, the warmth, and the oxygen that it received when it got put underground. So that seed, the first thing it consumes is itself. Meaning once it receives the water, the oxygen, and the warmth, it imbibes, it is now activated. It went from dormant to activated. It begins to consume everything that it already has inside so that it can actually produce what it needs to. And then in order for it to go from that to what's called the radical or the first root, when it breaks open and starts pulling in all the nutrients, all the minerals required, all up underneath that ground in that dirty place that nobody sees, where it's dark and nobody sees what's going on right there. Yeah, that requires you to break. It has to break open because it has to literally get the root out. You got to go down before you can go up. So once it literally starts getting everything it needs while it's under, it is not until it is done that it can go above. And then we go through the next processes of photosynthesis, the phototropic, and it pulls from the sun, and et cetera, et cetera. But the main point that I'm making to you is sometimes it does break you because that's a part of the process that God put you through. You had to be broken in order to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
Because the version that you were carrying was not who you were meant to remain as. You're good enough. You are enough where you are for whatever purpose that you are fulfilling right now. But you best believe the next level requires a breaking.
Yeah, I'm so glad you pointed that out too, right? We can neglect and negate that part of the process. It's easy to talk about the outcome and the silver linings, but if it is not painful in the meantime between time, then we are not telling the truth.
What they say, cap.
But so I could talk in metaphors and poetry all day long, right? But I want to get into the real, like, let's go there with you. What were some of the things that created, and we're going to get to the epiphanies that came from it, but what were some of those specific seeds in your life? Like, what were some of those moments that were the seeds that broke you open or that created that experience for you in your life?
Oh, so many. I say so many, but it's only a handful, which is typical, right? The first breaking point was my breakdown. And that took place in 2017. I was, at that time, working a 9 to 5. And I was on my job early in the morning, sneaking on the phone, laughing, ha, kiki, talking to my father. Now, a little context, he didn't raise me and he wasn't there. Boom, that's that. So you name the trauma, it happened. There's a lot to that story, but the main thing is it didn't remain where it was. So this day we were on the phone laughing and having a good time. Crazy. 17 years of being absent, and yet and still you can have a life that you had no idea was available to you with the person that was not who they needed to be. So as we're talking about his wife, yeah, he was a trip. He says, boy, speak of the devil, hold on, because she called him. And then he said, hold on real quick. I said, no, just take that. I'll talk to you later. He said, you sure? I said, yeah. He said, all right, boy, talk to you later. Love you. I said, love you too. Talk to you later. Bye. He clicked over. I hung up. The day goes on. And 6 hours later, after I've gotten off of work, and I was actually not feeling good the day before. A couple days before, like so much I had to actually put in a doctor's appointment. I felt so good. I said, you know what? I'm canceling this appointment. And I did. So I was so good. I said, you know what? Let me stop and grab me something to eat, food I should not have been eating. I said, I'm about to go to CC's Pizza secretly. Shouldn't have been doing that. But I literally pulled into the parking lot of CC's and I sat there. And as soon as I was gathering my wallet and everything, trying to look for my little ID because I got a discount for working at the job that I worked at, I was like, yeah. My phone starts blowing up on Facebook Messenger. And I'm confused because it's my stepsister who we nothing against her, but we don't talk at all. Hence why she's reaching out on Facebook Messenger. I'm like, it's weird. So, I thought she was butt dialing me or something. She kept calling and she would not stop calling. And I was like, what the heck? So I answered. I said, hello. She's like, I'm like, whoa. What's wrong? She was talking so fast, about 100 miles per hour. And when I finally kind of made out what she was trying to say, eventually I made out that she was saying, Mom walked in, she found him on the side of the bed and he was unresponsive. I said, wait a minute. She walked in and found him on the side of the bed unresponsive. What? Just talk to him. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, man, I did not go into the CC's. I was just like, you know what? Let me just start driving. You ever just go on a ride? Like you don't know, you know where you're going, but you kind of don't, because that drive is kind of like therapeutic, even though it just is what it is in this moment, because you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't really, like, it doesn't add up. I'm kind of like trying
Mm-hmm.
to reason and rationalize, and I'm telling myself, I'm literally prepping myself. You know what? He might be gone. Dang. Well, I mean, shoot, if it was this time, it was this
Mm-hmm.
time. And I'm telling myself that if that's the news and it just is what it is, you know, it just, I'm really trying to rationalize with me. It's as if I'm initiating the grieving process before actually grieving,
Mm-hmm.
because I did not know what was coming. As I'm driving and I'm deciding, let me go ahead and start heading home now. I took the long way. I end up getting a phone call from his wife. And I see this and I answer. She said, "Hey, baby." I said, "What's up?" She said, "What you doing?" I said, "Headed home, driving." She said, "I'm gonna need you to pull over." In my mind, I've already rationalized. Hey, he might be gone. Might be gone. Called the ambulance and all that. He was unresponsive. He might be gone. So in my mind, I'm kind of already prepared for it. So when she said pull over, in my mind, I'm like, man, just go straight for the jugular. I paused for a moment. When I asked the hardest words that I've ever had to ask anyone in my life, I said, "Is he dead?" She said, "Yeah, baby." I broke. I shattered. I wailed. I screamed. I lost every bit of sanity in the moment. I did not know I was capable of reacting to anything
Yep.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the grace of God, I made it home because I could not see. I was. This is not a. You know how they say you ugly crying, you booing. This beyond the ugly crying. I wasn't me. I was gone. I was not expecting or ready for that. I got home. At that time, we were living in an apartment. I tried to gather myself as much as I best I could in the car before going up the stairs, and I had a hard enough time just opening up the door as I'm still trying to control myself. I don't want my wife and my daughter to see me this way. At this time, our daughter, we only had one child at that time, and she was one. And no, she was about to be one the next month. She wasn't even one yet. And I'm just like, let me try to get me under control. And when I walk in the door and she looks at me and she's like, "Hey, baby," she already knew.
Mm-hmm.
They had already contacted her. My wife was like, I, I just broke down again. It, it, it took everything in me that it took in me to shed that version of me. So that breakdown was the first breaking point that literally changed everything as it pertains to perspective
Yeah.
for me.
Wow. 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 Whew, it's those things that you can anticipate all you want and prepare for all you want, but until that moment occurs, like you just don't know how it's actually going to feel or how you're actually going to react, how you are driving around preparing yourself and like, okay, this is what it is. But until you got that actual phone call, you didn't know how exactly it was going to feel and respond. So you said that version of yourself. Tell me what's the version of yourself that left that day and what changed in your perspective after that moment.
One thing is, I learned about the truth. See, there are things that are true, and then there's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
See, what's true is subjective to the moment. The context of it always matters. However, for example, the sun is out right now. It's sunny outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
Yeah.
Not everywhere right now. That is not true everywhere. But truth, yeah, that doesn't require you to agree with it or disagree with it. The truth is the truth. And the thing about the truth is, once it hits your ears, you can't unhear it. So in my mind, I had told myself something that was true. If he's gone, it is what it is. It was his time. I'm saying all these true things, but I did not know the truth because I didn't know if he was gone or not. This is where I realized that the truth sets you free. Therefore, a lie sets you up. And many people have been set up from the get up and still ain't got up because they don't even know it. So what I tell you, I made a connection. That one right there. And then the second connection was the value of being a father. See, when our firstborn was born, she didn't come out breathing. So we thought it was a stillborn.
I didn't know this.
So the doctor looks at me and she's like, "It's okay, Dad." What? I'm like, oh, okay. And since that day, like minute one, not hour one, not day one, minute one, anytime I heard her crying, I just knew that she was alive. That was just a reminder that she's alive. So crying never bothered me. Her crying never bothered me. Well, I didn't make the connection. See, life changes you. That life that came out of my wife, it changed me. It changed my title. It elevated my identity, the expression of me. I'm daddy now. Like, oh my goodness, I was daddy before she could talk and call me daddy. Like this is a lot that's taking place internally. But guess what? It wasn't until my father passed, and I'm at the actual funeral, and I'm just like realizing, like, oh my goodness, life changes you. But death humbles you.
And you know what else is really powerful about that too? How sometimes it takes the removal of something to recognize the power and the influence and the impact and the value that it has. Like, just to pause on that for 1 second. Because I think we all have things in our lives even right now. Let's not wait until the removal of it to see the value and the impact and the influence that it has, right? And even taking the lesson of that phone call, that phone call that you've now replayed in your mind over and over and over again so many times. Like, I think most of us have some of those phone calls, some of those conversations that man, if only I had known. And that goes back to being more conscious, present, and intentional in the moment, of making every moment impactful, making every moment important, living every day, not as if it's your last in a dreadful sense, but maximizing every moment to its fullest potential without putting a negative weight on it. That's the balance, right?
Yeah, that's an aspect of it. Sometimes it requires the awareness first. Actually, it always requires you to acquire the awareness, because you can't be intentional about what you're unaware of. It doesn't work that way. It was not until I was standing at this man's wake and all of these women kept coming up talking nasty, saying all types of stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah, that man's wife was there. I'm like, yo, whoa, what's going on here? And I had to remember, oh yeah, she's his ex-wife. They was living together still. So technically speaking, they was still divorced. He got locked up again and she divorced him while he was locked up, all types of crazy stuff. So all these women coming up saying stuff, and I'm just like, what the? Oh no. So we in the church and they up here talking that I had a whole aunt. It was his, technically she my great aunt. She's like, he used to call me his sexy auntie. I said, so hold on. So I didn't intend to say anything the whole time. I'm just looking at my grandmother, because that was her only child. And my grandfather had already passed away. Don't worry about it. I didn't meet him till I was 18. Didn't know he existed. And he scammed me before he left, but that's not the point. Yeah. Yeah, I come from a long line of man say. But like I'm listening to all these women go up and say all the stuff they saying, and then they up here cussing in the church. I'm like, yo, what is going on here? Well, there's something that they all had in common. They were all unattractive. And
No.
yeah. So whenever I noticed that, people were like, hey, everybody get 2 minutes, say what you gotta say, respect the family. I'm like, I am the family. And dadgummit, you ain't gonna put me on no 2 minutes. I'm the son. So when they got done saying what they were saying, I said, let me go up here and say something. And that's when I realized that life changes you, but death humbles you. And sometimes that humility allows you to humble somebody else. So when I went up there, my father was a trip. So I said the truth. I said, now, many of y'all, if y'all knew my dad, one thing that y'all all knew was at some point, that joker lied to y'all. They bust out laughing. I said, he was telling y'all was all pretty and cute and all that. Y'all know that man was lying to you. He couldn't even stay in a stable home. He always had 3 women. He said one dummy that's going to keep him fed, one dummy that's going to put money in his pocket, and one dummy that's going to make sure he got a place to return after 2 of them that got tired of him. And by the time that dummy get tired of him, he going to go back to the other one who going to feed him again. And then by the time she done with him, he going to go back to the other one. I'm telling you, this was my dad. So I'm just like, y'all sitting up here saying all this stuff. Like, ain't nobody trying to hear that. He lied to you and you know it. I'm just going in and they all are laughing at this wake. My grandmother is laughing so hard because I'm like, y'all not for to sit up here and just act like this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. And listen, I understood at that moment, right then and there, that it don't matter how you want to feel about a person. The truth is the truth about it.
Yeah.
And when you know it's true, even at a wake, you will awake. You will be awake and start, what, yep. So the people that came after me were like, hey, his son told no lies.
Right. Oh my God. Wow. That was memorable. Did that experience make you think about the legacy that you're leaving and how you want to be remembered and what you want your kids to be saying about you that day?
No, it made me realize that some people are just delusional. And it's like, and it also made me realize that when you have a higher priority of being the perceived griever, like when you're the one that's mourning and grieving,
Yeah.
when people know that, they give you a pass. They
Mm.
treat you differently. So the top 2 people was my grandmother and me. Those are the top two people being considered, my grandmother and me. So when a person is mourning and grieving, you get to say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And I said what I said. Is just so happened to be what I said was something that caused people to see the comedy, because I brought up stories. I'm like, y'all know he probably stole from you too. And
Oh
as a
my
matter of fact,
God.
they were like, he ain't lying. He ain't lying. Listen, it really made me aware though. What it did make me aware of is you never know when the last time is going to be the last time.
Yep.
Like I had no idea that conversation will be the last conversation.
Yeah.
So one thing it did do, because 3 days later, I just really wanted to hear his voice again. So I went through my phone. I was looking and searching, and I found a voicemail. And I still have that voicemail, a 19-second voicemail from a time where I was not talking to him because of his own actions. My father was not, just wasn't a very honorable man. I love him, but that joker did stuff that he knew better than. And when your safety is compromised and your freedom is compromised because of another person's decisions, you have a responsibility, a moral obligation to protect your boundaries. Some people don't even need to get to the boundary. I don't know why they say you got to set boundaries. I mean, I do, but sometimes they don't even get to approach the boundary. So you got to literally make it to where, no, you're not even going to get to the boundary. You can't even get close to the boundary. And I had to enforce boundaries on him. And I have a voicemail from around the time where he was on block. Like, yeah, you ain't getting through. I'm not talking to you. Why? Because I'm so angry. I'm not going to be respectful. You're my father, so I don't want to, I want to watch my mouth. But this 19-second voicemail was from that time. And I did not know that as time went on, when we were good. He's not on block anymore if I'm on the phone laughing, hi, kiki. But I didn't know how much I would value that 19 seconds of no context, that this will be the last time I get to have something of his voice. But that's the only way I get to hear his voice, when I press play on that voicemail. So that is one thing that I learned, that you never know when the last time is going to be the last time. And this is why I'm so intentional about how I use my voice, because if you've ever communicated with Jarrad is more than likely going to send you a voice memo. I don't do the text. I send a voice memo more than I send a text with words. So I understand that one day you're going to want to hear my voice again.
Yeah.
That's the background behind that, because of the 19 seconds that I have with my father, I'm intentional about leaving my voice for people just in case they need to hear my voice one more time.
And that was the birth of voice equity?
Almost.
Okay, tell us what voice equity is exactly, and what the birthing moment of that was.
Yeah.
The epiphany.
Yeah. Voice equity, first of all, is like equity, period. It's literally your assets minus the liabilities. That's how you determine the actual equity of something. So if you have ownership of something, it's the asset minus the liabilities. Liabilities take away. Assets bring you money. They bring you. I say ROI is return on investment, return on identity, and return on intentions. So you're going to get a return. Be intentional about it. So voice equity is you taking ownership of your voice, your value, your narrative, because you absolutely have one. I told you, legacy is life examples gained after considering you. Well, that's the one you leave, but the one you actually build is the learned expectations gained after considering yesterday. The things that you have experienced need to be jotted down, written down, auditorily recorded with your voice, not AI. I have no problem with AI, but I say AI and I say that means authority and identity. That's another subject for another day. The main point is your voice equity is you taking ownership of what you know God has put inside of you, because there's a proverb. It says, a man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his lips, and the work of his hands will return to him. Another one says that a healing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse word breaks the spirit. Another one says that hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. And then one more, it says death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it shall eat of its fruit. Your fruit, those are your results. I got acronyms for days, Anna, but your results, literally, your fruit is full results understood in time.
Yep.
So if you don't understand the value of your voice, you don't understand the value of your fruit. And if you don't understand the value of your fruit, you don't understand the value of you. And you don't understand that there are those who will absolutely lose their mind momentarily when they find out that they can't hear your voice again because you're no longer on this side of life. This is why I tell everyone that you absolutely have $1 million voice. If you don't believe me, tell me that there is not a person that you value immensely, so much so that if you could give anything to hear their voice just one more time, that it wouldn't cost, that you wouldn't be willing to pay $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you found out that's what it's going to cost, you would invest the rest of your days trying to collect as much as you could in order to at least make a deposit so that you can get access to their voice. Why? Because of the equity that was in it. That's why. And that's in you too. So voice equity is literally turning your voice into the asset it deserves to be so that you can unmute the value that is in it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I have got so many voice memos on my phone because I would sit out on the balcony with my mom. And after experiencing loss, right? Like had already lost my dad and one of my brothers at the time, and my mom and I were roommates in Dallas. You have that sense of knowing how precious certain things are, right? So we would be on the balcony having a glass of wine, happy hour after work, and I'd be just asking her the deepest questions, like making up for lost time, truly, because I left the house when I was 19. So now here we are, roommates in my 30s, and I'm asking her all the questions, getting all the tea about everything. But I'd pull out my phone and I would turn on my voice memo for that exact reason. I knew not only that I'd want to listen to this again and hear her voice again, but also to capture the stories. And those are still, going to be turned into a book of some sort, right? And the wisdom that comes along with that, the wisdom that comes along with people's story and the things that. So tell us what exactly is voice equity?
Voice equity is the value of your story packaged up into an asset. You need to turn your voice into an asset. And every story that you have is a message that needs to be delivered.
Yeah.
That's why I say don't be a scam.
Secretly carrying a message. I know that.
Secretly carrying a message. Yes. Yes.
I have that one memorized.
Yes. And if you are secretly carrying a message, then you are secretly carrying a mission.
So say I want to turn my voice into voice equity. What do I do?
One, you need to take ownership of your value. So I help them to see it. If you don't understand the value in you, then we got a problem. Mayday, mayday. We have a real problem. Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but they say 85% of the population struggles with low self-esteem and low self-belief.
85%?
85%. Check this out. They say that 75% struggles with imposter syndrome at some point in their lives.
That I believe, yeah.
So they think that they're not competent, meaning they're not good enough. I'm not enough. No, who am I? Who am I? Not realizing that, hey, that's a belief issue.
Yeah.
So that means most people don't believe in themselves. So when I tell you, hey, voice equity is us taking the value of you and packaging it up. If you think you don't have a solution after experiencing all of those problems in your life, you are deceiving yourself. So that means you owe it to the one who gave you all of those answered prayers to do something with the value that you carry right now. And if you think your perspective is lacking value, then you, my friend, are lacking the value of your own fruit. The problem is no tree eats of its own fruit. So you don't even know the value of it until somebody tastes of it. Therefore, I help them to do that. Let's see what you have. Let's package it up and let's present it. Why? Because one, there's somebody waiting on you. And if they're not waiting on you now, they will be waiting on you later. They'll be looking around and searching. Where can I find this, that? And it was only going to be understood and received from your voice. And you've heard things from all types of people, but it was always an individual specific. When you heard them say it, the connection was made. Yeah. So voice equity is you being the person, being the being the condition that must be met in order for a particular purpose to be fulfilled. But you're doing it with your voice, and your voice is not always auditory. It's like when you're reading a book, you're reading it in someone's voice. When someone is writing something, they're writing it in someone's voice. Even whenever they're doing, they use AI to make copy or whatever, you want to do it in the voice of whoever. So voice is simply the transmission of thoughts that moves someone internally. It provokes movement inside of someone else. I'll say that again. Voice is the transmission of thought that provokes movement in someone else. So whether they're reading it or they're listening to it, that equity that you have is an asset that absolutely is meant to be put to use because it's valuable. And if it's valuable, it's useful. And if you understand anything I said, that means it is actually priceless. That means you can put a price to it.
Wow. Awesome. Okay. And people can work with you directly to get that done.
Oh yeah. I love it. Because I get to start with them. All I'm
Yeah.
doing is presenting you to you initially. I think I did that with you.
Yep. I'm just making sure everybody else knows.
Yeah. I present you to you. Because most people don't see the mirror until they let somebody else mirror them.
Yeah. So
And
good.
after you see you appropriately and you literally respect who you have become and how you got there, you'll understand that there are people who are just now starting where you already have scars. If there are scars, that means time has gone by. You are healed, my friend. There are those who just got broken. Therefore, this is why it's important for you to show your scars so that they can see the evidence that their wounds can be healed because they just getting started. And here
That
you are
takes
with
a
this
lot of
voice equity
courage. Yep.
sitting on it.
That takes a lot of courage. You said something else that brought back. So you said somebody might be waiting specifically for your voice. There might be something that you are carrying because of a circumstance that you overcame, because of an anointing that you carry, because of some certain, and they're waiting for your specific voice, your story, your solution in order to have their breakthrough. So powerful. And it reminds me of the Les Combs story that I love to tell about the ghosts around your bedside. And being at the halfway point of the year, I'm like really stirred right now to be kind of challenging people, to be thinking about what did you start this year determined to get done in 2026 and where are you at? And have you started to take action towards it, right? So if that's you, I want you to listen to this analogy. I heard this literally, I want to say 15, if not 20 years ago, and it stuck with me so severely that it actually did help dictate some of the major life decisions that I made. And again, it comes from Les Combs, and he says, imagine you're at your deathbed. You're laying in your deathbed, and surrounding your bed are the ghosts of all of your unfulfilled potential. They're the ghosts of the books that you never wrote, the dreams that you had that you didn't take action on, the podcast that you wanted to launch. And they're standing around your bedside and they're beckoning you and they're saying, we came to you because only you could have given us life. And now we have to go to the grave with you. If that doesn't activate you to do the thing, and I think a lot of the conversation that we had today, us both having experienced personal loss, there's something about experiencing personal loss that makes the fragility and the how temporary life is so real and so tangible that it kind of, for me, I think for you too, like activates you to take action towards the things that you're dreaming about. Is that true for you as well?
Yeah. Your private losses are your public gains. Your private losses produce perspectives. You will behave according to what you believe. And you will treat things and people according to how you see them. So your perspective is your point of view. Therefore, your private losses are your public gains because people gain perspective from you whenever they ask you questions based on your point of view. And they don't know how you acquired that. They don't know how you became broken in the dark. They don't know what you had to go through and grow through. They have no idea. All they see is the fruit.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's so true and so powerful. And so that's a good note too, that we can wrap up with, if you're in that dark place right now, ooh, if you're in that place where you're being buried, if you're in that place where you feel like that dark night of the soul, what is life season, just know that there is an other side of that, and just know that you are being planted. Everything looks so dark, but you're actually sprouting, you're rooting, you're being grounded. And that growth, baby, it hurts. It does not feel good. But on the other side of that is fruit. And on the other side of that is actually seeing things that you've been promised come into fruition. So hang in there, keep going, and just keep charging forward, knowing that God sees you, that we're here, we love you, we're rallying, we're supporting you. If you want to get a hold of Jarrad, drop your contact info. How can people follow you, get a hold of you, and get more of this wisdom and encouragement that you're dropping on a daily basis?
Well, one way to get a hold of me. Sheesh, so many. But I know TikTok is where I have been hanging out, and
Cool.
I've been just dropping as many gems. I used to tell people, go to IG, go to Facebook, you
Yeah.
know. But if you want to find me, it's going to be Jarrad.Walker, at Jarrad.Walker. Jarrad is Jarrad .Walker. And that'll be me on TikTok. That's where you'll be able to find me. And if you're not like, oh, I don't want to go on TikTok, I am Jarrad Walker everywhere else. That's literally, I am Jarrad Walker. You can put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, you put it on IG. That's me. I do want to say this, Anna, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Had I not broken from the perspective that I gained and developed a new perspective when it came to what took place with my father, I would not have been able to understand the value and the importance of life after finding out, as you know, about my health. Whenever that took, like, out of nowhere, that took it took me down. But when you've been in the worst of worst positions, it prepares you for your next worst conditions. And you know, I deal with multiple sclerosis. Had I not gone through the traumas behind me, I would not have the elevated perspective of the value that I'm still here. Whether you woke up on purpose or not, you still woke up with purpose attached to your life. I would go as far as say it was assigned to your life. And when your health is good, everything matters. But when your health is compromised, only one thing seemingly matters, and that is to get well again, to get healthy. But when only one thing seemingly matters, it's easiest to see the two or three that matter just as much. If you still got life in your body and you still here, no matter how hard it is, life is hard. You hard. Who harder than you? You still here? Well, as long as you understand, I've been through worse, or this too shall pass. Why? Because everything that was required of me to become the person that can continue to move forward is just evidence that I ain't done yet. And I needed another boost. I needed another piece of proof, not for me, but for somebody that's watching. Because when they see me go through what I'm going through and they recognize he's not responding, she's not responding the way that I would have, I wouldn't actually have seen that way. No, if you've developed these perspectives that are that valuable, understand that you have the ability to change someone's life just by exercising your authority to be who it is that you have earned the right to be, as well as being the person that you were always meant to become as a reference point for somebody outside of yourself. This right here, we wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have MS. Yeah. No, we wrapping up, so that'll be another part two.
I know. We got to have a whole, listen, you got to come back, because I want to talk about you quitting your 9 to 5. I want to talk about your diagnosis. I want to talk about all that. So will you come back for another episode?
I would love to. I got to, because see, after my father, I got to tell you how I became an intentional father. And it took 3 kids to learn better. That's a whole nother story. Like when you ask, what's the epiphany? It's like, man, I had about 4 of them. And those
Yes.
have literally played a role as to why I say, you ain't new to this. You true to this. You just got to decide to sound like it. That voice equity is everything. Because that's your legacy.
So good. Oh my gosh. All right. It sounds like 4 epiphanies. So we've got 4 episodes that we need to have you on. And so hold that thought. So if you guys want to reach out and contact, follow me. It's Epiphanies with Anna on IG. You can find me on Facebook, or my website is epiphaniescoaching.com. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love for you to leave a comment, share this episode if it hit, if you had any epiphanies. I want to hear what they are. But I love you guys, and I thank you so much for listening. And in closing, I want to hear, based off this situation, based off this circumstance, and what we talked about today, Jarrad, what was your epiphany?
Based on this conversation, my epiphany is sometimes the things that are most recently the worst that you've dealt with and that has helped you to become who you are right now. Sometimes you need to be reminded you have to grow through something in order to even get there. We talked about my daddy wounds, essentially. We talked about my daddy, and it really provoked me to consider, how be the if. If also stands for intentional father, intentional family, intentional friendship, and intentional faith. Those are the 4 relationships that will make or break your life. And out of all of the things I could have told you, I went straight to where it all began. With the man that I had to become after seeing that the man who never became an excuse for me not to become. That, I didn't even think about that like that. So that was my epiphany. My epiphany is sometimes the people who have failed you are the same people who propel you. And you get to add value to your story through the part that they played in it. And it's not for you. It's for those who are needing to hear from you why it is you believe what you believe. Yeah.
Before you go, I want to know, what was your epiphany from today's conversation? Let me know in the comments. If this episode made you think of someone, send it their way. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation. Until next time, I love you, I'm rooting for you, and remember, one epiphany can change everything.